Welcome to another edition of Teach the Geek interviews. My name is Neil Thompson. I am the founder of Teach the Geek. I work with technical professionals so they can present more effectively, especially in front of non-technical audiences. And you can learn more about that at teachthegeek.com. Again, that's teachthegeek.com. Today, my guest is Shubham Gupta. He is an analytics and business intelligence leader who, as part of his work, communicates analytics and AI insights to non-technical audiences. He's worked in a number of industries, including telecom, healthcare, and insurance. I'm really curious to learn more about why he chose his field of expertise, and why speaking to non-technical audiences became of importance to him. So welcome to Teach the Geek interview, Shubham.
Thank you so much, Neil, for inviting me. Happy to be here.
Wonderful. From the bit of research I did on you, I saw that you studied computer engineering. So what was the motivation to study that?
Of course. Since my childhood, I have been always very much fascinated by numbers. And behind the scenes, like every processing that computer does, it happens in zero and ones, right? So that kind of motivated me to like pursue a degree in computer science.
Okay, interest in numbers. That's a great answer. That's actually the first time I ever heard that answer, but it makes sense. So certainly, now you get this degree. What kind of work did you do once you graduated?
Sure. So I graduated in 2011, and then I joined a MNC, and then I was supporting and consulting clients based in US and other geographies. And my role was to empower business leaders, primarily CXOs or VPs or directors, and to enable them make data-driven decisions uh, utilizing or leveraging AI and analytics.
Oh, okay. Well, and out of curiosity, was that something that you had planned to do, or is something you just kind of fell into?
So apart from like dealing primarily with numbers, I am also fascinated by figuring out um, the deep insights. So meaning like figuring out why, how, where, and like all the questions that might come from a from a business perspective, right? So I've been always curious to figure out like if business is not doing well, why, right? So that curiosity actually made me to focus more and more on working in analytics, BI, and now AI.
What's one thing that you realized th- came with being in the working world that you didn't know would be the case before you joined it?
Would you please repeat your question one more time?
One thing that you experienced in the working world that you didn't anticipate.
Um, I guess what I really figured out is that all these different business stakeholders or users, they come with different technical expertise. So like some of them are like very tech savvy, and then some of them are not. So working with like diverse set of business users kind of made me realize that if I have to communicate my findings or my results to a broader audience, I have to be like better equipped and to make sure that my findings resonates with them and it makes sense to them. So I just learned working with people with different technical expertise.
And what did you do to improve in that area of having to communicate with these non or with people from outside your field?
So I always believe that in order for me to like better communicate with business users, I have to first of all understand their background, like what is their pain point, right? So every business users that work with me, they have some certain like business problems or business pain points they that want uh, to figure out or like make some decision making, right? So my role primarily is to first of all understand their pain points. Uh, so I think all of my work primarily starts understanding from their uh, perspective that what they are trying to solve, and then finally jump into the technical solutions, right? So first of all, understand from their perspective, and then use my skills and expertise to bridge that gap.
Interesting. I mean, I also mentioned in the intro that you've worked in a number of industries. How difficult was it to change from industry to industry?
I guess it's definitely a learning curve, but behind the scene, if you see, Neil, all of these businesses have more or less similar problems, right? Like most of them are like trying to optimize their operational efficiency. Some of them are trying to like improve their numbers, like their financial health, maybe optimize their workforce, or like their supply chain, or so on and so forth, right? So like end of the day, it's all about like making these organizations like smarter, efficient. And it might be so for different industries, it might be like different metrics that might we might track, but it all works the same, right? Like if I'm deriving some business insights for a finance client, more or less I'll be using the same concepts for other industries as well. It's just like the metrics will be different.
Got it. And then with the people that you're communicating with, what's the best indicator that they actually understand what you're communicating to them?
Um, so as I communicated before, it involves communicating in their language. So let's say if a business stakeholder is tech savvy, then it kind of makes me easy for me to like communicate with them. I can just um, share my findings in like more technological way. Like sometimes I just open my SQL window and then just like run a couple of queries and then just share with them. But like, however, if some of them are like not very tech savvy, then I might have to translate those technical findings into more business oriented terms. For example, if someone has asked me like how our products are doing over a period of time, right? So in that case, I would have to do a lot of data analysis work in the background behind the scenes. But like end of the day, when I'm presenting my findings to them, I will be presenting them in the same format that you asked me for top products that are doing so and so and this geography. So this is the list of all these products and this is how we are doing. So it all depends upon like what kind of technical depth they are looking for. And then I just fulfill that requirement that way.
Are you ever in a position where you have to speak to different audiences at the same time? And if so, how do you deal with addressing both audiences or multiple audiences?
Sure. So I've given like a couple of presentations to like company wide audiences. So that involves like CXOs all the way down uh, to like team members, team leads. And my approach was to make sure that when I'm providing insights, I cater to all the audiences, right? Um, so the way I deal with these presentations, Neil, I believe in a principle that people tend to forget what you told to them, but they never forget how you make them feel, right? So if I know that my audience is diverse, I want to make sure that I have something for everyone. So I always start my presentations with a hook, and that hook kind of explains what my what my presentation is going to be about. Then I lead the presentation with my thesis, which talks about my narratives, which is very strongly backed by data. And then I share an inspiration or aspiration, uh, like something that all of them can leave the session with, right? So what I'm trying to make sure with this process that uh, is that all of those participants have something to leave the session with.
Yeah, I certainly can get the complexity sometimes of having to talk to different people because you'll have people who are experts in your field and you'll have people that know nothing about it. And what do you do to make sure that both groups listen? You don't want it to be so rudimentary that the experts stop listening because you're talking about things they know already, but then you don't want it to be too complex that the newbies aren't paying attention because you're going way over their heads. So it's definitely a balance that you have to, well, balance.
Definitely,
Yeah,
yes.
for sure. Okay. Are you a individual contributor or are you a manager of people?
So I do both. For some of my clients, I work as individual contributors. However, for the company that I'm working for as a full time, I also mentor my teammates. So yeah, I play both the roles, and I've
Okay.
been also like architecting and working on these solutions. So yeah, I think I've played all different kind of roles over a period of time.
Being a manager of people, is that something you always aspired to be, or is that just something that happened?
I think it also comes with a period of time. So like at this point, I have like more than 13 years of experience. So all of my technical expertise over a period of time that kind of make me the right candidate to also lead the team members who are just joining the workforce or who have like lesser experience than me. So it's always like once you reach to a place, it's your responsibility to pull those who are under you or who are just starting, right? So that's also my way to contribute back to the field that pulled me up initially.
What are the main characteristics you think a manager of people should have?
I think transparency is very important. So like always be transparent with your team about the objectives and the goals. I always believe in that. Then honesty is another one. Like you have to be honest with the intentions and like smart working, right? Like for if I'm assigned to a task, I don't care like how much a person is sitting in front of a computer and doing it. For me, smart works matter more than hard work. So like as long as my team is delivering on time, I'm totally fine with it. So yeah, that's how I like to deal with things.
Being a manager of people, what's one thing that you didn't anticipate about it before you became one?
Um, I think it's a learning curve, and um, one thing that I would say is like being an individual contributor, you are only dealing with the tasks you are assigned to. But when you're dealing with a group of people, then all of them have like different ways of working on things and different mindsets. So it's like it's a responsibility of a leader to kind of bring everyone on the same roadmap and the same like project and team goals and to make sure that everyone is aligned to it, because unless your team is on board with you on the mission, it's kind of hard to deliver the high quality deliverables on time. So like keeping everyone on the same page and then aligning everyone with the mission is super critical in my mind.
What for people who want to become a manager of people, what can they do to prepare themselves for that role?
I will say start taking more and more ownerships. And that ownership can start with as small as like taking notes in the meetings, all the way up to asking your supervisor or your leads or managers to proactively assign them tasks, right? So like so many times people just work uh, like, okay, so this XYZ thing is assigned to me. I'm only going to be working on it. But like if you are really looking to be a leader, you have to show to your leadership that beyond my assigned roles and responsibilities, I'm willing to take more responsibilities and you should have guts to just say to your leadership that I got this and I can deal with this, and then that kind of gives you more and more confidence, and it always works in a feedback loop, right? Once you deliver something good, that kind of builds in your muscle memory, and then you keep on working on it, and then you keep on taking more and more ownership on your task, and it becomes your second nature. So taking ownership is definitely a very important characteristic for someone who wants to become a leader in future.
Think when I think of leaders, the first couple of things I think about is being a good listener and then also being someone who is able to clearly say what you want the people who report to you to do. But I've heard other people talk about the importance of vulnerability in leadership. So according to you, how important is it to be a vulnerable leader?
I think it's very important, and the reason for that would be uh, all of us have gone through a journey, right? Like I might have my low moments and I might have my high moments. So I won't say like all of my 13 years of my career, like everything was good, right? I have seen bad moments. I have had sleepless nights, as well as I had like good days when I was celebrating my success. So I would say like when you share your genuine self with your team, that definitely make them feel like they are being heard, which was one of your point, that being a good listener also helps. So like showing your vulnerable side, and then listening to your team members about their pain points and um, their challenges also helps, because sometimes your team might feel left out. You have given them tasks or challenges, and then they might feel like there is no one to hear their concerns or challenges. So I feel like being a good listener, as well as like showing them your two side, your journey, which might be filled with both pain points and success, right, also helps. Yeah, I totally believe in that.
One thing that when I first heard the importance of vulnerability in leadership, Shabam, the first thing that came to my mind is how vulnerable should you be? Because another thing that I often hear about, just not even with leaders, but just in the workplace generally, is people suffering with imposter syndrome. So if you're a leader who isn't all that, what's the word I'm looking for? Clear, maybe not clear is not the right word, but confident in your ability to lead the team, should you tell the team that? I mean, if you did, I mean, you're being vulnerable, but the people on the team might think you don't think you can lead us, so why should we listen to you? So, what do you think of that scenario?
Yeah, I think as a leader, we should tell them uh, that difficulties would come, and hard times would also come. But if we keep pushing ourselves, we will definitely overcome those roadblocks. So what I was meaning to say with my previous statement was that I can share my own times where I faced similar situation, and how I came out of it, and that might help them to push themselves, right? Because people, I mean, as a leader, you should lead by example. So what I'm trying to say is like I shouldn't like share all my um like, I mean, it's okay to share your struggles, but up to a point, right? Like up to a point, so that it can help your teams or your subordinates to learn from them and then become better. So I mean, there's a fine balance, there's a fine line, and I like to be transparent. I like to share my insights and expertise with people. And like I said, it's not always rosy, right? It also comes with pain points. So
I like what you said, Shabam, about having to overcome struggles, because what that is yeah, you had something that you were struggling with or dealing with, but you found a way to get over it, and that helps the people that you're speaking to. If they were ever to come across something like that, well, then maybe they have a roadmap as to how they can get over it too. I suppose when I was thinking about vulnerability, it's just being vulnerable for vulnerability's sake, like the example I gave. I'm not sure I can lead this team. Like, why would you tell the people that you're leading that? What can they do with that information? What are they supposed to do? Like, we still have to report to you. We still have to get work done. And you've given us no roadmap to how you've overcome your imposter syndrome. So what's next? So I think you're right. It is a balance. And I think you also said something, well, what you had said about the importance of just offering those solutions, I think is important, as opposed to just offering the problems.
yeah, definitely.
I started this podcast and YouTube channel, Shabam, because I struggled giving presentations in front of management, but I got a lot better at it over time. And I was curious to hear from other people with technical backgrounds about their public speaking journey. So I'm curious, is speaking in front of others something you've always been good at? And if not, what did you do to get better at it?
Neil, so I will be honest here. So when I was starting my career, I would consider myself as an introvert. So like over a period of time, I have become more like an ambivert. So now I feel much more comfortable. But when I was just beginning my career, it was super hard. So like even though if I have to like address an audience of like 10 people in a meeting room, I would definitely feel like anxious. Like I would feel like um, the um, like how I'm gonna deliver my insights and like how and when this whole thing will be over, right? So that's where I started. But over a period of time, I realized that that since I primarily deal with business leaders, I have to get better at this because most of my role not only involves just dealing with the data, but it also involves like communicating those insights with the stakeholders, right? So I had to become better over a period of time.
Yeah, I mean, same here. I had to give presentations on project status to senior management. So it wasn't just about doing the work, it was about communicating the work as well. And if you only focus on the first part of doing the work and not on communicating it, well, you might not have much work for much longer because they'll
Yeah.
start canceling projects, and then you're thinking, well, what do I do now? But then, and actually that is what happened to me. I had to give presentations in front of management on a monthly basis, and I wasn't all that great at it at first. And my project ended up getting canceled. And this was over 15 years ago at this point. And I still look back on that time and think, man, if I was just a little better at communicating the importance of this project and what it could do for the business, maybe I could have saved it. But all I did, Shabam, honestly, was I get up in front of people and read slides and try to get out there as quickly as possible. But oftentimes what would happen is I'd get questions after the presentation that I thought I'd answer during it. And you'd think I would have gotten the hint that maybe I'm not putting things in a way that these people can understand, but I didn't get the hint until it was too late.
Yeah.
Yeah. When it comes also, you mentioned being anxious before giving presentations. How have you been able to manage your nerves?
Sure. So over a bit of time, I built these principles for myself. So like back in the days, I used to kind of get myself ready until last minute. So what I changed is like, okay, so if I'm delivering like very high critical presentation where all these CXOs and VPs and directors are involved, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna keep prepping myself like maybe until the last day, so that I'm like all good. But on the day of presentation, I'm just gonna keep myself calm. So I'm not gonna think about everything because I already prepped up well, right? So on the day of the presentation in the morning, what I would do is like maybe I would just like close my eyes, visualize that I'm already there in the conference room or the meeting room, and I'm all uh like like confident and like speaking like very slowly and and keeping my body posture correct, like using my hand gestures correct, and then so like just visualizing also helps, like kind of it kind of puts you in a better mood and in a better spot, because then now once you start delivering, it doesn't feel that much of a stress anymore. So like I used to visualize myself in the situation, actual situation, and that kind of helped me um, cope better over a period of time.
That's excellent advice, and it's advice that I also suggest other people do, and visualizing yourself actually being successful giving a presentation. Because if you tell yourself you're not very good at it, then that might very well be the case. But if you tell yourself I'm going to do well, and you visualize yourself doing it, well, that's more likely to happen than not.
And I noticed, Neil, that most of the time people don't care if they are aligned with your mission, right? So it's possible that I might still say some things wrong here and there, but in the bigger scheme of things, everyone is there for a bigger mission. And as long as like your talk is aligned with what they are interested in, as long as you are addressing to their necessities or needs, I think even if you kind of mess up things here and there, it doesn't matter in a bigger scheme of things. So that I realized over a period of time that you don't have to be perfect all the time.
I think you're absolutely right about that. Even just thinking about my own habits, listening to podcasts. Maybe I listen to one where the audio quality isn't that great, but if I'm really interested in the topic, I'm going to listen, and I probably won't even notice the fact that the audio quality isn't great. Whereas you could have some other podcasts where it's perfect. You can hear everybody talking perfectly, but if you don't care about the topic at all, it doesn't matter if they're talking perfectly and you hear it perfectly. You're still not going to be all that interested in it. I think you're absolutely right in that. So, Shabam, for the people who are listening and watching this conversation and they want to get on that path of becoming a more effective communicator, what's the first thing that they should focus on?
So I would say start with the prep. So like, let's say if you have to give a presentation or something, start with why, how, what, all these questions, like why are you giving this presentation, right? So like just first of all, try to identify your target audience, their pain points, and then prepare your presentations, catering those questions. And then so once that is ready, I would say do all the prep you want, but then do not like stress until the last moment, right? So just keep yourself calm on the day of the presentation. Like I said before, visualize as much as you can so that you kind of lose those stressful moments. And then once you are there, kind of try to be there like a couple of minutes earlier so that you are kind of properly prepped for your mic, your screen, and everything else. Your PowerPoint is working fine. So just to kind of be in a situation where you feel comfortable. If you show up there last minute and you're kind of just trying to struggle and then trying to get ready last minute, it might give you more stress. So kind of just be there on time, maybe before time, and then make sure that everything is working fine and is smooth. And then when you are actually speaking, just make sure that you are speaking slowly, you're using your vocal tone in the right way at the right points, and then making sure that you are starting your presentation with a hook that I mentioned before, so that keeps your audience engaged. They know beforehand what they are going to get, and then you always should back your narratives or your thesis by very strong data points, which I do all the time, because numbers never lie, right? So no matter what you say, if you present it with the right set of numbers, right set of data points, people feel more and more susceptible to listening to it. They feel more and more interested to listening to it. And then finally, give them something that they can take away. So whenever I do my presentations and my meetings, I always make sure that all my audiences, end of the day, they feel like they learned something out of it, they got something out of it, and then their time was not wasted. So keeping all of those points in mind and then working it like all together, it kind of always leads to better presentations.
100%. This has been a great conversation, Shubham. Thank you so much for being a guest. How can people get in touch with you?
Sure, Neil. People can connect with me on LinkedIn. They can search me by my name, Shubham Gupta, and I would be happy to connect and then talk more. And then if they need mentorship, I can also mentor.
Wonderful. Well, everyone, that marks the end of another edition of Teach the Geek interviews. My name is Neil Thompson. I am the founder of Teach the Geek. I work with technical professionals so they can present more effectively, especially in front of non-technical audiences. And you can learn more about that at teachthegeek.com. Again, that's teachthegeek.com. Until next time, take care and stay safe. Thanks, Shubham.
Thank you, Neil.